What's the ideal age for sexual consent? And Daddy Owen, I'll start with you on this one.
That's a very hard question.
Based on what you've seen, you've had the judge's argument. They say that several youth have been incarcerated for that, and they're thinking that it should be lowered from 18 to 16. There are several countries that have a lower one, page 10 and 11 actually.
Saying 9 years.
Yes, there is.
9 years.
And in another country, it's 21.
Yes. In South Africa, Denmark, Slovenia, Ukraine, and Estonia, the marriage age of girls is 15.
15, yeah.
Yes, while in Spain, Austria, Belgium, Bulgaria, Switzerland, the Czech Republic, Germany, the United Kingdom, and Hungary, a girl or a boy can get married at the age of 16. But that is subject to parental consent.
Okay.
So that's the same direction we want to take. Yay or nay?
My goodness, that's really hard, eh? Because now, when you think about it, when someone has a case, that's when now you know the real value of this topic. Yeah. When you have a case in court that you did something to a girl, and then they come and look at the age of the girl, they're like, she was 16. Yeah. You understand? Or she was 14, or she was... Because a normal young man, you'll be like, the girl is 18, that is normal. The girl is 15, that is normal to other people.
Do you think we should be basing this conversation on age or on maturity? Because at 16, you don't even know yourself. Both a boy and a girl, you're still trying to figure out yourself. You're still in school. Then you want to rope in...
Maybe girls, but boys.
By 16? Could you confidently say that you went by 16?
16, I was in Form...
16?
Form 2.
Form 2. You could confidently say you know who you are.
Of course.
No, come on.
16?
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So I think that's even the time you're still trying to figure out who you are.
16?
Mm.
No.
People say it's not even until by 30.
Me, I grew up in Ushago. You know, there you have uncles who teaches you so many things. So at 16, you are a grown man, but you're building your own Simba, you are living in your own Simba at 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. For us, the moment you go there and you are circumcised, you're a man. Yeah. That's the difference. But in Nairobi, I think it's different.
Dominic is a teacher, a lecturer to be specific. What are your thoughts on this?
See, this for me is a very... First of all, there's a slippery slope judgment here, argument, where the main argument behind lowering the age is because we have too many sex offenders in court. Yes. Now, how can you transfer this idea of thinking across a spectrum of issues? So if we have many people stealing, do we lower what stealing is? If you steal a chicken, it's not really stealing. Okay, so 100,000 is stealing. Okay, but 999 it's not stealing. Okay, so that we can reduce. Then, you know, I'm a psychologist, and the brain completes its growth at the age of 24. So,
24.
At the age of 24, that's when your brain finishes maturing. And you know, it matures in stages. And the last stage of maturity at the late adolescence, from the ages of around 19 to 24, the prefrontal cortex is the one that grows. And this part of the brain is associated with judgment and reason and experience. All right? Now, the question of sex is a very significant question, right? And you cannot say that a 16-year-old knows exactly the psychodynamics of sex. Yes. Sex is, you cannot separate sex from power and emotion and psychology, you know, impact. And so when you say that a 16-year-old, and you know, the interesting thing is, many of us, even adults, overestimate how much we know ourselves. Yeah. But we don't. From a psychological perspective, you make more choices unconsciously than consciously. So what are your conscious motivations to having sex? All right? What are those conscious and unconscious motivations? So let's take a quick example. Girls who grow up without a proper relationship with their fathers or without fathers have higher chances of being promiscuous in their sexual in the sexual episodes or, you know, engagements. Do they know this consciously? No, they do not.
They do not.
Now, can you say they have consent? Because consent requires freedom. And what is freedom? And so freedom has two dynamics. Internal freedom, that I am not doing this because I am lonely, or I'm not engaging to sex because as a man, I want to prove myself, because then I am not free, because I am doing it from an insecure perspective. And then from an external point of view, I might be engaging in sex because, well, from maybe rape, then there's no consent. So freedom requires both, consent requires freedom, and freedom has two important dynamics. And that's why I'm saying this, for me, is so wrong in my opinion. But we started this slope in the 1960s and 70s during the sexual revolution, and would be my problem to this.
But then that argument is very solid. But then does it mean that keeping it at 18 deters it in any way?
No, in my opinion, as a psychologist, I don't think 18 there is any magic at 18. So you are saying yesterday night I was 17 years and 364 days. Today I'm 18 years, and suddenly I can make life-changing decisions.
No.
Overnight.
No,
like, you need to come with something better, all right? So, from the time you are in 5 years, you go to school for 16 years to prepare for a job that probably pays you 30,000 shillings, right? Isn't it? That's how it goes. But then you are telling me that I am mature enough without any previous preparation to commit myself to one human being or to make a choice about sex that is going to affect the rest of my life. On a single, based on whether I'm 16 or 17, 18 or 19. It doesn't make a lot of sense.
All right, hold that thought before we come to Daddy Owen. Kemboy is calling from Mogotio. Kemboy, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yes, go ahead with your comment or question, sir. Yes. 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 Okay. Okay. Sawa. Sawa, Kemboy. Thanks, Kemboy. That's Kemboy from Mogotio. And and this is also where the concern starts. Kemboy anasema they're targeting the wrong person.
No, for me,
and this is politics.
That's the other thing.
Yes.
The moment it gets too hot, guys turn it and say it's politics. You understand? Whenever the investigation starts, guys will start digging in theories, conspiracy theories, and they'll end up with a conclusion that this is just politics. And that's the worst thing about our country, because in all situations that something comes up, we always turn it to be political. Then because the worst thing about politics is like you'll never get to the end of something. Because today I'll say something, tomorrow Trevor Mazizi will come and say the other thing. So as a Kenyan, I'm a citizen, you never know what's the truth. Because we always believe what leaders say. But if one leader says this, the other one says the other thing, the other one says the other thing, eventually, as citizens, we don't know who to follow and who is leading us to tell us what is happening, what is the truth and what is not the truth. Because if one CS says this, if one politician says this, and the other one come and disputes the same statement, you as a person, you're left at home, you're like, should I go to the streets tomorrow to protest? Or whatever the other politician said is the truth, that this whole thing is just politics for 2022.
All right, allow me to just now get back to this specific conversation on following age as we're closing it off. And I want to address this question to Dominic. So this Court of Appeal judge says, and I quote, "We think it is rather unrealistic to assume that teenagers do not engage in and often seek sexual activity with their eyes fully open." My question then would be, would it not be better to educate young people, these teenagers, on sex than barely just reducing the age consent?
Absolutely. That judgment, that statement by the Court of Appeal, with due respect, I don't think is a very smart statement. Because what do you mean that with the eyes fully open? All right? How many times do we make irrational judgments and we are way above 18 years? And we make bad choices, So I don't think many teenagers do this with their eyes open, and that I think he means that, you know, symbolically, that they are aware, fully aware, that they know exactly what they are engaging themselves into. I do not think they do know that. And so I think that we need to reevaluate how we teach sexuality. And in my perspective, we need to go back to the idea of the respect that comes with your very self, you know. Am I willing to allow myself to be loved? And I think for me that is the main issue. Do people believe that they are enough to be loved as they are, that they can be loved, and they do not have to find out shortcuts in trying to prove to themselves that they are lovable? And I think that's where we have the challenge of many people engaging in sexual activity, because they want to experience, even if for 5 minutes, that they are lovable. And for me, this is a problem. So you're right, that we need to teach young people about sex, but the question is how? If you look at this place, at the newspaper, it's saying in 3 out of 4 cases, no condom was used. It means, do you think these 3 out of 4 cases, they do not know they need the necessity of contraception and condoms? They do know. So the idea of that their eyes are open, that's not the case.